guys, welcome back to another episode of Tea Time. I'm Trinity.
I'm Tamrin.
And we're back with episode 8.
2 months.
2 months. I'm proud of us.
So proud of us. It's been so good.
It's been a good journey. Lots of learning, lots of growing.
Lots of growing. I feel like we're learning a lot about ourselves,
Yes.
about our identity in Christ.
Yeah.
And it's so special.
It's been a good time.
Yeah, I love sharing this with you and sharing it with them. It's
Everyone.
so amazing.
Today, though, is going to be quite a good episode.
Yeah.
Because it's something that's very relevant and prevalent in today's society, and it's something that controls a lot of how we live and how we just exist.
Yeah, I feel like it is something that we experience in our everyday life. It's something that you're not fully aware of.
Exactly.
But yeah, today we're going to talk about validation.
Validation.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something everyone struggles with. Like, no matter how old you are, what color, what race, religion, whatever, everyone goes through this validation
every aspect of your life. You're just like, you're unaware of how you're always seeking validation.
That's true.
And so today we just thought, like, you know, we're on our journey of self-awareness.
Yes.
And what better way than to see how you are seeking validation and the ways you can change that. Because it's not always good.
There's lots of consequences to it, and there's lots of harmful effects of being so like drawn to this validation. And validation comes from any form of aspect, whether it be social, relational, work life. Exactly. It's like it's validation in every aspect of your life. And that's something that we have to address, and we're gonna get over it.
We're gonna get real about it.
Yes, we're gonna get through it. I mean, like, it's like starting off like with validation, it's just this external. You care so much about the external opinions of other people, and you use that to define your worth.
That's true, when in reality, especially as Christians, and I won't even say that, you're supposed, as Christians, I would say people as general, we are supposed to be finding validations in who we are, in like who God created us to be.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so important to not just like be comparing yourself all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, how many times, if you think of you and I, have we posted something on social media and immediately started waiting for the likes and the comments?
I'm literally at this point, I've turned my like count off. I have, because I used to become so like clingy and obsessed to this concept of, I wonder if this got like that many likes, or did it get that many likes? Because like, you know, and I'd be like, maybe I didn't look that great in this picture, and then I want to delete it, and I'd be like, but I'm not supposed to be posting on there for other people. Like, your like social media is shared with other people, but it's not supposed to be for other people.
That's
like, you know. And so
we've just become very obsessed and we want instant self-gratification. And we've become so addicted to the opinions of other people.
But it's so crazy how unintentionally we've become so dependent on what other people think, that like, okay, if this person doesn't think that's cool, then
it's probably not.
Like, you know. And when do you just do things for yourself? Like, when do you just do things that make you happy?
Exactly. And like, while it's okay to like use other people as motivation and you know, to encourage you, but the problem comes in where you start comparing yourself and you start measuring yourself up to that person. Because that's when it becomes dangerous, and there's many consequences which we'll like dive into just now, about how you can't, as we always say, comparison is the thief of joy.
It is.
If you're constantly comparing yourself, you are gonna be so unhappy.
You are.
And you're gonna feel unfulfilled and not worthy.
I just think that sometimes we're also comparing ourselves to like celebrities, or we're trying to find the validation in like, doing things that we aren't necessarily proud of, but maybe it's like something society has made a trend or made it seem cool, and so we lose sight of who we are. And then it's like, but what did you get at the end of the day? Approval from society.
Exactly.
But we're not seeking approval from society. You're supposed to be seeking approval from the Lord.
Exactly.
Alone.
That's the key thing that I feel like a lot of people don't realize, that you are craving all this attention and validation and trying to find your worth in the things of the world, when your worth is only found in Christ.
That's what's so important. It's like, you just need to be able to realize that in reality, none of those things matter. Like, social media is like literally something that's made up.
True.
People don't show
so real.
People are not showing their actual
true self.
daily life. And then sometimes I'll like send a snap or send something, I'll be like, but do people need to know your every move of every day? Like, you know.
But that's what I'm saying. Why do you think we do that? Why do you think we do that?
It's
it's because, like, if you think about it, like a slot machine, okay, you are waiting for that like rush to come in all the time, and it triggers that dopamine in your brain, which is the feel-good hormone, and you want more of that, like each and every time. I know we spoke about this with the digital addiction, but it has the same effect whether you're getting your validation from social media, your academics, your friends, your partners, or whatever. You want that feel good rush when people compliment you, and there's nothing wrong with that, because we're human at the end of the day. We want to feel supported and loved. But when that's the only thing you're relying on to feed your energy,
I just think it's really concerning that we've become so like self-involved.
Very.
Like the fact that you need that instant validation and gratification from like posting on like social media or like having to share every aspect of your day, it means that you just want approval from other people to tell you, oh, you look so pretty today, or like, oh, that's so cool, or the way you have this is so nice.
Exactly.
Like you need to be able
we
to
become
like,
brainwashed.
Yeah, you do, and it's like it's making you lose sight of what like really matters, like you know, and that's just really sad.
It is very sad, because you are supposed to set the standards for yourself. You cannot be comparing your goals and your dreams and your aspirations to somebody else, because like the moment you start doing that, you're going to feel like you're not worthy, and you're going to feel like you're failing at everything, and everything, you just go into a downward spiral.
You do, and it's bad.
Exactly.
Like Trinity and I, like almost every week, I'm not even gonna lie, we'll have this like epiphany. We'll be like, we really need to delete our Instagram.
Yes.
And it's like sad, bro. Why is it like that? It's because, why do you think that is? Because we automatically feel like this, like
we know that that's the problem.
Yeah. And that's just really bad.
But like, it's not even just with social media that you like crave validation. It's also like, even with like, I know for me sometimes it's academics, like when
academic validation
recently this year has been like very testing for me, because like some of my friends are like thriving, they're doing so well, and like the moment that a test doesn't go right for me, I immediately like lose hope,
self-doubt, questioning, you feel the world
exactly. I'm like, why is God letting this happen? Why am I like, is this meant for me? Why am I doing this? Why I'm working just as hard, but why am I not getting the same, like, you know? And it's a very bad thing, and it's very detrimental to your health.
That's why I feel like it's so important to remember God's promises, like, you know, so like for me, I know as soon as I start feeling this like downward spiral start, and like, you know, I'm seeking validation from every angle, I turn to the word, and I remember that God literally calls us like children of a king, like daughters of a king.
Definitely.
And you need to remember that that's where your worth is found. And no matter where you look, you could look anywhere on the earth, you could look to your friends, your family, you're never going to be fully content with the outcome. Like, you know, you're not going to be fully content with what they say, because you're not going to be perfect in the eyes of man. But in God's eyes, he's going to see you for what you are, which he is his child.
Exactly.
And you're made in his image. So that's all the like validation you need, is that the Lord has validated you.
Exactly. And I feel like it's a struggle for a lot of us, because we always care about what people think. Whether it's what we're going to eat, what we're going to wear, how we look, like we're always wondering, what is that person going to think? And there's a problem, because I know, like, I mean, we both suffered with it and stuff, but as sons of God and daughters of God, you have to understand that you're meant to be set apart. You're meant to be holy and separate from the rest of the world. Just because what the world is doing seems cool doesn't mean you should do it. Just because it seems fun and it's gonna, like, you know, make you fit in with, you weren't made to fit in. You were born to stand out, especially as a son and daughter of God.
And speaking about it in the essence of Christianity, you know, also seeking validation from the church, like seeking it from other like Christian people is really hard, because it can also be really detrimental to your mental health. Sometimes your journey with God is not the same as the other way people may like show it. And it might not be in the conventional way. I know for Trinity and I, we're not in like our family churches in like Durban, and so we kind of had to find our own way to navigate our relationship with God. And sometimes you'll see like other people like doing all this work in church, and like, you know, or just being in like their family all the time, like, and how their family is doing work, but your relationship with God is different, and you need to be able to find contentment in the way you are using your life to glorify God. And that's what's important.
And also in terms of like like the level of spirituality that you have. I often found myself comparing to like my other friends at church, or you know, like my family members. I'm like, how are they like, you know, so far deep in their like spirituality, and why am I not reaching that potential, like you know? But I had to understand that we're all on a different journey. The relationship that you build with God is your own. I always used to like compare like my brother and I'm like, how come he's like, you know, so like mature in this sense, like why am I not getting this like revelation and stuff? But I had to understand that it's also like the work you put in, yes, but you are on a completely different journey. Your testimony is going to be very different from someone else's testimony, and that's the beauty of God. That's the beauty of serving Him, because no two people are the same. Like you're going to go through different things, and that's what makes it so beautiful when you testify at the end of His goodness.
I also think that when it comes to the church, I know a lot of people have been hurt by church.
True.
And I think that what people need to realize that when it comes to church is that you need to find contentment in who you are in Christ and how you are using your life to serve Him. You will only know if you're being able to if you are reaching your full potential. And by choosing to compare yourself to other people and the way they are living their lives, that's what's going to steal your joy. Definitely. And that's going to hinder you from growing and embracing what church truly is, which is, it's a blessing, and it's so important to go to church and build a community there. And I feel like it's all in your own perspective. So stop like trying to find validation in the way other people live their lives and trying to compare it or fit into their lifestyle. Rather, set your own tone, set your own pace for things, and seek God, and that's where you'll find your like validation.
And also remember that your like blessings are completely different to someone else, because I know like I used to like always think, oh, how come that family is always like you know, going overseas, they're doing all these things, and like I'm stuck here, and like, you know, I'm not like moving. But the fact that you get to live in such a beautiful place, you have all just I feel like that's such an important thing in overcoming validation, is being grateful for what you have and not what you don't have, and working with what you got to get to where you need to be.
That's the thing. I feel like you are the only one who can validate yourself.
Exactly,
so
that's true. I mean, like going on with that as well, as we can see, many like the validation that we go through has many consequences. Like, I mean, you were talking about how whenever we get anxious and stuff, we immediately want to like cut off social media and stuff. And that's one of the biggest things. You feel this anxiety and this heaviness to constantly compete with other people, and it's no longer authentic. You become so fake, and you put on this facade because you want to try and be like this other person,
and your life just becomes so like busy and overwhelming that you're struggling to find the peace in any situation, because everything is like a duty, everything is like a competition for you, that you can't just do anything to make you happy. We really need to just start living for like, okay, for God,
for the Lord first,
for yourself, like next to that, because if what you want and what the Lord wants is in aligned, then it's going to be good, like you know. But just everybody else doesn't always want the good intentions, like, you know. And I know this is like an Indian concept, and I know that everyone doesn't believe in it. I don't believe in it either, in the concept of like, you know, people will say putting eyes on I don't really believe in it in that sense, but I do know that not everyone has good intention for you, and the Bible speaks about jealousy, and that is like a thing. And not even just jealousy, is that people don't want to always see you succeed, and so why are you comparing yourself to people when you don't even know what their intention is for you? You don't even know what they're manifesting onto your life. So it's just important to just seek God. That's the only person that's gonna, well, not person, but that's like the only thing that's gonna help you.
And like also I feel your self-esteem decreases. Like it's all these mental health disorders that you start to develop because you're not happy with yourself. And I mean, if you're not happy with yourself from like the get-go, and you don't find your identity in Christ, you're gonna find all these mental health problems. I'm gonna be honest, like if you're not seeking your identity in Christ, you're gonna suffer with these mental disorders. You're gonna stop yourself from reaching your full potential because you're so scared of going on to the next thing because of what other people think.
For sure.
Like I know even I know like my brother and I always used to talk about this. He would always tell me that like, why are you always worried about what other people are going to think? I know from like the transition from like high school to now is obviously much different, But like I would always be scared to go into like certain places. Because like you get that like social anxiety. I mean, it's still like it happens now, but it's obviously much more controlled. But like I would never want to go and put myself out there because I was so scared of what other people were gonna think about me.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you're gonna let other people think, if you're always gonna think about what other people think about you, you're never gonna grow.
That's true.
If you don't grow in comfortable situations.
That's true. You have to be pushed out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And as we said, external validation is not going to bring you any peace. It's not going to bring you any joy. And
exactly.
There's a difference between being motivated by other people and being stunted in growth because you're too scared.
Yeah.
And we said before that fear and faith, yes, they motivate each other.
Yes, that's true.
I feel like, how do we fix this, or how do we move forward? And I feel like that's self-validation.
Yes.
Being able to validate yourself. And how do you think we can do that?
But with the self-validation, also not becoming so egotistical now, where you like, you don't think that you need.
It's really hard, and I always tell the Lord, like I do pray about it because it's like being humble, remaining humble in every aspect of your life. Because if there's one thing I've learned is that everything you have and everything that you are belongs to the Lord, and He can take it away just like this.
Exactly.
And the only reason you do get those things is because it's a blessing to you, and you need to be able to use it to glorify the Lord. So
and the Bible always talks about coming before God with a broken and contrite heart. It doesn't mean that you're like a pushover, or it means like that you just like broken constantly, but it's humbling yourself and dying to yourself so that you can come before Him and surrender all that you have. Because when you start surrendering your problem, that's when you find the true peace. And you stop comparing yourself. You stop, looking over. So one thing that definitely helps me with like getting over this validation in whatever sense is really turning to the Word. I'm not gonna lie. It's really as simple as that. Going through the Proverbs, going through the Psalms, the whole of the New Testament. I mean, finding encouragement from all the characters in the Bible.
The Bible has an answer for everything. And it's really true when the word says, like, you seek me and you'll find me if you seek me with all your heart. Like, seek the Lord, read the Word of God, and He'll just reveal things to you.
Yeah, definitely.
And you'll be amazed.
Exactly. And another thing, like, to get over this thing of validation is changing your perspective. And when I say this, I mean, yes, you're going to get people that are always gonna judge you, people that are always gonna have a comment or something to say about you, but it's taking that criticism and the rejection and turning it around so that you can better yourself. I know when I was like younger, like in my teens, some of the things that my family would say to me would really hurt me, and like I would take it with like a lot of anger, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like why am I not doing what they want me to do? Why am I so like unworthy of, like, especially like being a pastor's daughter and stuff, like you feel so much of comparison and you always want to compare yourself to the other pastors' kids and like how they are thriving and stuff. And I used to take it and I'm like, oh, I feel like such a failure, like I'm not reaching my full potential. And I used to get angry and I used to like lash out. But I have to, obviously it comes with maturity, but I started to take that criticism and the rejection and the comments and turned it around to say, okay, Trinity, like you are lacking in this aspect. How can you grow from that?
No, definitely. And I feel like the other thing when it comes to opinions is take what you want. Not everyone knows you. Not everyone knows you that well.
Exactly.
The people who do, take those ones seriously. But if you know someone does not know you that like well, it's not that deep. Don't take their opinions into consideration. Take what you want. It's literally your life. You do with what people say, but be able to also be like, okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Like
you take it with a pinch of salt and you move on.
And I also feel like, especially when it came to like the latter part of my life, like now when it was like the last few years of high school and now uni. Not everyone has the same like opinions and values as you, and there's a lot of things, especially with this generation, we're like hypersensitive to a lot of like just different topics. And just be confident in what you believe in. And
stand
it's
firm on your
okay
truth. Not your truth, the Lord's truth.
Yeah. It's okay to not go with the flow, and it's
Yes.
okay to not believe what other people say, or like not have the same values
Exactly.
in any regard. That's your opinion, and don't let people make you feel bad about that.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in something, then shame. Like that's their thing. But don't feel like you need to change because that's what the world says, or that's what's happening politically, or that's like, you know, you have the Lord has given you freedom.
Definitely.
He's given you the right to choose what you want to choose, and be confident in that. That He has given you free choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even you were talking about self-validation. I think something that's so important for people that are like struggling with their self-esteem is like, at the end of the day, or at the end of the week, or even a month or something, write down like a couple things that you're proud of yourself for. Like, not in a way where you become like proud, and but just recognizing that, you know what, you're making this effort, like you doing you setting your standards.
But at the same time, there's an amount of pride that you can have that is good. There's a certain amount of pride that you should have that is like
confidence.
Yes, confidence. Yes. Where you can remember that you are made in God's image. You should be proud about certain things. That you're a daughter of the King. You should be proud about being graceful, or being kind, or working diligently this week, or going to the gym this week. Be proud and recognize where you are succeeding. Work on the things where you're falling on, and just let other people be on their own journey, because you're just going to stunt your own growth.
Exactly. And everyone is on their own journey.
They are.
It's, I don't know why we are in a constant like rat race all the time. Trying to, especially now, I feel it in my 20s, like, you know, by the end of my 20s, I need to have this and this done, and like people are making like millions in their 20s, and you know,
I was like shocked because like I'm just like, how old are you? Like, shouldn't you? I sometimes feel like we're so old. We just turned 20 this year. We turned 20 this year. And sometimes we're like, oh, like we need to be doing this. And we're constantly looking for internships. And just, like,
there's a certain extent where you need to be driven, and you need to be.
But don't get caught up with it. Don't let it overwhelm you. Enjoy life. Sometimes you feel like life is a burden, but it is a blessing.
It's a blessing.
And you're supposed to be enjoying studying. You're supposed to be enjoying the challenges that you're facing right now, because it's not supposed to weigh you down. It's supposed to help you grow. So enjoying the time that you're in. And also, I don't think there's ever been a time where like I message you and be like, OMG, did you see what she posted? Did you see what she posted?
That's so true.
On Instagram?
We make it up in our mind.
Like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so real. Nobody cares. Especially like, okay, maybe as a teenager, that's a thing. Like, you know,
everybody goes through that.
That the teenagers listening, they learn that that's not okay, and stop like, you know, the whole like judging other people. But like at our age, we really don't care.
You get to a point where you stop caring.
I do stop caring.
I don't know if it's just us. Or
I hope it's everyone else too.
I do hope it's everyone.
Because I don't really care about what other people are doing. Like, you know, I'm happy to see you thriving, but I'm never judging you.
Exactly.
Like, there shouldn't be any judgment.
And especially like now when I post things, or whatever I do in my academics or whatever, I always like question myself. I'm like, am I doing this because it aligns with what I want to do and my morals and values, or am I doing this because I want validation from someone else? That's the number one thing you have to ask yourself before
you need to be self-aware. Be real with yourself. And at those points where you feel like, oh, I'm about to do something that maybe I wouldn't normally do.
Exactly.
Ask yourself, am I doing this for me, or am I doing it for the world?
You'd rather be real with yourself than being fake with somebody else.
Sure.
It's true. You have to start. Nobody wants to be constantly in comparison with anybody. It's daunting. It's going to weigh you down. It's going to make you feel bad about yourself.
And if you look at to be honest, I like follow a lot of like business people on like social media, a lot of like successful people, and what they're normally saying about their lives is that they don't share that much. Like the celebrities, they love to share everything. But those people who are like working for like their success and stuff, they don't share that kind of thing. They're focused on themselves, and they're all about living their own life, doing what makes you happy, what makes you confident, and that's where you will succeed in your confidence, in what you know you're good at. So
and remember, God has sent you here with an assignment. You have an assignment. Don't focus on what somebody's doing, what somebody's wearing. focus on the task at hand, what you're meant to do. Stay in your lane. Yes, it's good to find encouragement, do all of that from other people, but the moment you start using that to define your worth, then you have to do a reality check and go back to the basics.
That's true.
I mean, that's what it all boils down to, and especially setting boundaries with yourself.
Yes.
Taking time away from social media is so important.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest form of like validation that we're seeking right now, especially in this time and age that we're living in. Setting the boundaries. If you need to take time off Instagram, do it.
You do what makes you happy, because you're the only person who knows what's gonna help you.
Yeah.
And honestly, don't ever feel afraid or anxious to step away from the people or the things that you feel are toxic to your life. Because as I said, not everyone's intentions are pure. Not everything you do is going to glorify God. And if it's not glorifying God, it's not going to glorify you.
Exactly. That's as real as it gets.
That's as real as it gets.
And it's okay to be different. I know, like, like the teenager age and even your early 20s.
It's rough. I'm not gonna lie.
It's very rough, and you want to fit in. You want to do things that make you seem cool to other people so that you can fit in. But embrace your differences. Like, it's so beautiful that we are each created differently. And you know, like I'll mention my brother again, because like he really inspires me in the way he lives his life and the way he carries his life. Like, he is very different from the conventional Indian boy.
No.
He is very different from that, and that's something I love. He's able to use that, and like he is thriving, and he doesn't let the opinions of others, because let me tell you something, especially in the Indian community, a lot of people have a lot of opinions.
It's like a cultural dictatorship, honestly.
Yes.
It's really
if you don't follow this certain way of how you should go as a Indian person, it's like, oh my god, he's going against the norm. Like, he's so different, he's
honestly,
so weird.
I give up for them.
Yeah,
I am giving up. It's such a toxic, and one
they
day I'll
unhappy.
do a whole episode about it, because it's such a toxic community. And then you find yourself, how many people do we know have moved? I don't want to get like too deep into it, but that's why. It's because you're surrounded by toxic people who are trying to make you conform to their standards. But things have to change, and change is not bad.
No,
you need to be able to embrace it. If you are stuck in the same place, oh my gosh, like,
you're never gonna grow. That's why you're not
never
growing.
Gonna grow. And then we see like a divided South Africa, but have you met the communities we've grown up in?
Exactly.
So I just have to say that be open to change. Be open to the things that need to be changed in your life as well.
The mindset and the culture definitely has to change.
It does.
And like, okay, maybe like it's starting to slowly, but I mean, it's got to increase its pace, because like the future generation is going to grow up in that, and I don't want them to grow up in that.
Is it changing, or are people leaving?
Like, because like every time you go, I know for me, every time I go back to Durban, I can feel that like and culture.
It's something that's relevant to our lives, and we know that like we love going home, but it's a struggle, like especially when I'm there. I feel like I'm seeking so much of validation, because especially like I'm going back to church all the time, or I'm surrounded by family, but then I remember that when I am here as well, I'm responsible for how I feel, and I take care of myself. So just remembering who you are in every environment that you're in.
Exactly.
So
that's what it comes down to, and just trust in the Lord, trust in Him. I mean, like that's where your worth comes from. I don't know how much more emphasis I can say. If you're trying to find your worth in the worldly things, you're never gonna find it. You're gonna constantly lose your identity. That's why we have so many problems today, is because people don't know who they are. They don't know whose they are, and they struggle with so many issues because they don't realize that God created you for a reason and a purpose. The only person you should be comparing yourself to is Jesus, because He is the template, He is the model. He was sent down so that He could be a pattern son for us to follow. I mean, that's the only person you should be comparing yourself to, is Him.
I feel like what I can leave you with today is, do not conform to things of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. And that's what I live by. I pray it over my life every day, is that, Lord, I want to be set apart for you. I want to stand out for you, because how am I going to be able to impact people if I'm constantly in the same mix of them? So that's what I can leave with you, is that you are meant to stand out. You're not meant to conform. And yeah, just pray that the Lord continuously renews His Spirit within you, renews your mind, and that's what I have to say.
Exactly. Don't let the opinions of others weigh you down. Be different. Be you.
Be like Trin and I. We're trying.
No, don't be like us.
Don't be like us.
No, be you.
But be you.
Yeah, because I mean, you're different. You have been made different. You are unique.
Yeah.
I know this is like a form of validation in this sense, but I mean, it's a good kind of validation. And
yeah, but you're only, as we said, you're the only one who can find that confidence in every aspect of your life. Seek the Lord, find validation in Him.
Yes,
and that's
exactly. That's it for today.
That's it. It's been great.
It's been good. I hope that everyone has enjoyed this and has been informed.
Yeah.
And starts to be more aware of their surroundings and just what are they like when you're posting and when you even in any aspect of your life, like what are you looking for? Why are you doing it? You know, constantly question yourself and
constantly question yourself.
Yes, self-awareness.
Self-awareness
is the key. That's it. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. We hope that everyone has a good week and starts finding confidence